So now we're going to do another knee on belly escape. Just like our half guard sweeping, just like our escapes, just like our, you name it from any position, we can't only attack with one movement. It's how we combine and layer our attack that will allow us to finally connect and find success in our position. So in this case, right, what we need to do the previous escape is from the knee on belly, I need to find a gap, right, at the arch of where my opponent's foot meets his ankle so that my thumb can fit inside that space, my elbow stays tight, okay? But a good knee on belly position, Yuta eliminates that gap by locking his foot to my hip and kind of flexing his pinky toe back to fit that space in an action that's called eversion. Right? So he fits, like a puzzle piece, fits his ankle to my hip here, so that there's not going to be even room for my thumb. So when Yuta is completely fitted into this space like this, this is where we can apply a bridge from knee on belly. Okay, so I don't want to show the bridge too soon. So this hand, elbow tight, is going to go find my opponent's hip. The point here is just to not let my opponent's hip move in this direction. Because like takedowns or like a throw or like a sweep, I want my hip to align with my opponent. So if you look at where my opponent's hip is here, where the edge of my hip is here. So I have to move my hip to this line in order to kind of line up with him. So I'm gonna block. When I'm ready, I'm gonna shift my feet over so I can pull my hip underneath my opponent. You can see already he's losing his balance. As I did that, in a very imprecise way, I'm gonna block the elbow line and make a grip if there's a gi. Okay, so I'm just blocking the elbow line, making a grip. Okay, I scoop my hip in, and now I'm gonna bridge. You see my forearm will pick up my opponent's hip, and now I can take my knee over with the elbow and hip control. I don't expect the bridge to work. Okay. However, if my opponent doesn't respond, it will. It's a strong enough action. Usually what my opponent's gonna do is recede or retract their weight, even shifting their foot onto the floor. Okay, so how they move away from us is gonna determine kind of what happens next. I expect him to shift this way to not get taken over. So when my opponent's here in the knee on belly, I block, bring the hips in. When I bridge and he shifts away, if Yuta went all the way to his foot on the floor, this is where we're gonna go straight to half guard basically, or straight to single leg to half guard. Okay, if my opponent just moved back a little bit, now I'll re-bridge and do the previous move. So keep a little bit more weight on me, but if he kind of shifted off a little bit, now I could bridge and replace. When I go to bridge, if he goes more, I'm gonna force the half guard position here, but you can see this is somewhat tricky because this foot is getting heavy. Okay, so how do and I'm a little bit on the wrong side, like almost in the situation for a false reap or something, but there's no space for that. So my arm is gonna go higher than the knee and my elbow is gonna sneak inside my opponent's ankle. And then I'm gonna do a crunching motion with my body to essentially wipe my opponent's foot off the floor. So as he's coming into this move, I'm going here, and now I can catch. So let's find a good angle to look at this, and maybe from the back side they can see well. So I you can find a good knee on belly position, Yuta. So I set up my bridge, I feel my opponent back off, and I'm just wiping his foot off the floor, sneaking my leg inside, catching the ankle, and capturing the hip. It's a little bit of like a foot sweep action. Can you step that foot up again? Just here. So what I'm looking to do is come here. My top arm is turning the knee down. My bottom arm is pushing the foot out. Okay, so I'm using my bicep on the top arm and my forearm on the bottom arm. And now I'm capturing the ankle and I'm already in the sweeping position. Okay, so one more time. We're going to bridge my point over. It starts to come back. And move back into our half guard sweeps.